Namaste, welcome to my show. And here I am with Abhijit Iyer-Mitra because the last video we did on defense indigenization, there were lots of comments criticizing Abhijit for his ignorance. So I have successfully convinced Abhijit to come again and answer those questions, the questions which are directed against you. I think that is far more than what Sonia Gandhi would ever do. So Abhijit, welcome to the show.
Vetrivel, thank you for having me on. It's always great to produce a program that gets under people's skin, and I'm hoping to irritate a lot more people right now.
I think you will be successful in your attempt as usual. So, Bijit, the one criticism which has come up that you have been criticizing HAL, Tejas program in India's defense manufacturing a lot. But you said you only talk about some Israeli radar. We have not been able to produce that Israeli radar in India. But the Uttam AESA radar is already under production, and it seems that we are about to fit it on the Tejas
No, it's not
airplane.
under production, it's under testing. So let's look at this. The first batch of Tejas till this Uttam radar gets ready is going to be in the ELTA 20 something radar, which is a gallium arsenide based radar. Now, here's the issue. You have had a whole set of platforms. You first got this ASA technology, the gallium arsenide producing the TR module, the transmit receive module producing technology, when you bought the Falcon from Israel in what was it, 2006, 2007. Okay. I forget the year now, but it was at least 10, 12, 15 years back. Now, you had that technology. You still have not been able to convert it into an operational radar so far. Operational radar. Remember, the LCA has been flying for the last 20, 30 years as a plane, but it's only operational now after almost 40 years of being announced. So there's a big difference between producing, things that fly and things that transmit and actually translating it into operational usage. You got that Falcon ka technology. Okay? Where did you translate it into a functioning radar? If you knew this radar, if you had the kind of success, the belief in this radar, that this Uttam radar was going to work, why did you want a French radar on the Rafales that you bought? You should have had the confidence to say, boss, हम अपना supply chain complicate नहीं करना चाहते हैं. We want just one radar. It is going to be this. You integrate it into your plane, right? You could have said you can announce right now that all your Sukhois are going to be changed to this radar. You're not doing that. And the DRDO is on record saying that this is a scalable radar. Of course, it's nothing new. All ASA radars are scalable. It's kind of like a Lego block. You just keep adding modules to it. That's the beauty of the radar. You keep adding blocks to it. You can upsize it, downsize it. Even for your ships, you then had to buy a completely new ASA system from Israel called the MF Star instead of improving on your own radar. The moment we got the Falcon, what was it, the Green Pine radar and the ELTA Green Pine radar, we bought two radars from Israel, in fact. The Green Pine, which was a ground-based anti-ballistic missile radar, and the Falcon in the air. So fine, you couldn't translate the Falcon into something. You should have translated the ground-based thing into something. वो भी आप कर नहीं पाए हैं. The air-based radar which you allegedly produced, again, it was too smart by half. You got the TR technology, the production technology from Israel. And as usual, you didn't do a complete technology transfer. So you never got any of the signal processing and data fusion technology from them. So they can't even perform the same way that the Israeli radar functions on your Falcons. So you have a whole set of accumulated problems out here which simply aren't adding up. You got this technology with the Falcon and the Green Pine. Why have you not been able to translate it so far? Why has it not been integrated into the Rafale program, the Sukhoi program, and all these programs? Why is your entire Jaguar upgrade program based on an Israeli ASA radar? Why have you signed a contract for so many Israeli ASA radars for your Tejas? If I were to go based on government flyers and government announcements that this radar is a fantastic success, then trust me, India would be a first world country by now. You wouldn't have any law and order problems. You would be living in a land of milk and honey. I don't go by government flyers, I go by demonstration. Till I see the Air Force commit to replacing all feasible um, platforms with this radar, the Jaguars, the Mirages, the Rafale, and this, and commit just to this radar on the Tejas and nothing else, I'm not buying that. And yet, what I'm seeing is more repeat orders for Israeli radars. So you want to delude yourselves into believing that this is somehow an answer. It is a great success because the government says so. Congratulations to you. I don't go by government statements, I go by proof of the pudding.
Yeah, but from where this information is coming from? Because I can see many comments saying ASA radar is already fitted on Tejas, and Bharat Electronic Limited manufactures TR module. I don't know what TR module is, and Rafale
Transmitters.
radar, and
तो वही
Rafale
तो मैं
radar.
बोल रहा हूँ बॉस, they manufacture it. What these people don't hear or what? You manufacture it. So why weren't you able to produce? You got this technology back in 2006, 2007. Nah? Why is your ship radar still? Why do you have to contract for an MF Star radar? You were already producing the Green Pine ka technology. Why did you have to buy the Falcon ka technology then? This is the same question I'm asking you. You're saying we produce it. I know we produce it. There's a factory in Bangalore that produces it. Okay. The issue is, why aren't you using it all around? Why are you still buying foreign things? देखो तुमने अगर the Embraer plane that we use in an AVAX role has a Indian radar. It's a completely malfunctioning radar. That's a different matter. Made of the same technology that we got from that Israeli technology transfer. Why did you contract to an Israeli company for a ASA radar for the Jaguar? Why are all your initial Tejases being the operational Tejases contract signed? Why are they being equipped with the the Israeli ASA radar?
But you were saying we're manufacturing these radars in India, so I'm not getting the point.
We are manufacturing TR modules in India.
Okay.
It is a huge difference between manufacturing an engine in India and making a successful car in India.
Yeah, getting the point. True.
Okay, it's like that. A TR module alone doesn't make a radar. It's the data, it's the testing that goes into it. The air to ground discrimination, you have to keep testing, things like that. That's when you pick up on the target discrimination and things like that. Air to air is relatively simple because the background is clean. Kuch beech mein aa jaye, easily detect ho jata hai. On the ground, detection is much tougher. Right? So it's things like that. Look, the point is, it doesn't matter what I say. The people who don't want to see it, they want to keep deluding themselves that a military industrial complex that's lied to them for the last 70 years about indigenization has finally got it right. Congratulations. It's partially my tax money, but it's mostly your tax money. So you want to put it down the bottomless pit? Go ahead and put it down the bottomless pit.
Yes.
Like I said, for me, the test will be large scale orders of the Uttam radar. A complete and a vowel from now on that there will be no more foreign radar purchases, period, for any platform, including foreign platforms. Till then, please don't give me this bullshit. If your defense minister, if your Air Force, Navy, and Army, your own prime minister does not have confidence to make that statement, please don't ask me to take you seriously.
Okay, so there is another question which has been asked many a time, is that Abhijit is basically stuck in the 90s. He has outdated information, and as things stand today in 2021, we have a huge range of cutting edge platforms just ready to be deployed.
Boss, I'm not stuck in the 90s, but you seem to be stuck in some propaganda loop, boss. You are a pre-industrial state. Okay, you do not have the complex micro, medium, small sector to be able to manufacture any of this. You are living in some anthropological mumbo jumbo Disney wonderland you are clueless about the way the modern economy works or how technology supply chains work. Okay, I am not the one stuck in the 90s. You are the one stuck in the 70s, because the kind of statement that you're making could have only been made in the 70s. In this day and age, no country has this kind of insular thing where everything is manufactured internally. In the 70s, Boeing would make almost 90% of its planes in-house. Today, 75 to 80% of it is made abroad or by other companies. Boeing only acts as an assembler. Okay? You don't have these things here. So please don't make a fool of yourself by making remarks like this.
But there's a fair criticism which is often seen in the comment section, is that why are you so critical about Tejas program? Basically, you're saying that it's outdated platform, but even if it's outdated, let's agree to your point, we have made something, and this is how we learn to make sophisticated platforms. So why are you dismissing the Tejas program? How can you make a fifth generation platform without mastering the at least the fourth generation platform?
You didn't make a first generation fighter in India. You didn't make a second generation fighter in India. You didn't make a third generation fighter in India. So how did you suddenly come up to a fourth? So if you use the same logic that you can't make a fifth generation fighter without making a fourth, you basically can't make fighters in India. When we made the Marut, the HF-24, the lesson that was said was, can you make it in India? Yes, but it's probably better you don't make it in India. That was the lesson that the government of India learned, which is why they never got into the succeeding generations of fighters. Okay.
Why was that?
Second,
Basically, what happened out there?
uh, it was underpowered. We lost too many of them during the war. They couldn't climb after they'd attacked. They couldn't climb back up. There were all kinds of issues with that plane. The design was solid. It was essentially a German designed plane, good tank. But you didn't have the industrial strength to produce it in proper numbers. You didn't have the industrial strength for quality control and things like that. So why am I so negative with the Tejas is, when a child is stillborn, अगर 6 महीने में मम्मी के कोख में बच्चा लात नहीं दे रहा है, सीधी सीधी बात है कि बच्चा मर गया है कोख के अंदर. Okay, when you don't have an industrial ecosystem that can support a fourth generation fighter, how do you want me to take it? This is like the false pregnancy that Catherine went through. Na? It was a big tumor in her stomach. She thought it was a baby, and then Elizabeth becomes queen.
Yeah.
You want to live under this Catherine-esque belief that the stomach tumor is a baby. Congratulations to you. I don't have to live under your delusions. Na? तुम खुद अपना program start करो भाई.
But then
starting your own YouTube program.
But then tell us.
Number two, why is the delay an important factor? It's a very important factor. I'll tell you why. For 3,000 years, we were trying to cultivate a domestic horse in this country. We couldn't. It took the British to come and cultivate a domestic horse after the last cavalry charge had happened. Okay, so you want to continue like this? Be my guest. Why tune into this program then? You know exactly what I'm going to say. Prove me wrong by your actions. I've set clear standards for you. Now prove me wrong.
But let me take your argument and prove you wrong. You're saying that you will believe something when there will be mass order for that thing. So in the case of Tejas, the government has just sanctioned thousands of crores of rupees to produce and to buy those planes. Is that not the proof of the success of the program?
Ordering it isn't proof of success, boss. Delivery bhi hota hai na.
Let's say if they deliver it in next 2 to 3 years.
Delivery money, does the platform deliver on all its promises?
Okay. Now, you are saying that the government is ordering this thing even though it's not good enough? Are you saying government is bluffing? And what are you trying to say here?
Abhinav, this is like going in circles and circles and circles.
Because those are the comments, which are coming up. So I'm asking you.
So this is the kind of cyclic logic. Order place karna padega. Simple. Just commit to no more foreign aircraft. Na? Itna vishwas hai tumko. Pass a law saying we will not buy foreign aircraft. हिम्मत है? करो ना. मैं रोक रहा हूं क्या? See, placing an order, people also take idiots into the IAS. If passing the exam is like delivery, then the IAS should be the best service in the world, na?
We are seeing
What
them
does the IAS deliver?
how they are dealing with Twitter and Facebook. We are seeing that.
No, that is the completely different level. That isn't even an IAS issue. That is a cabinet issue.
Mm.
We don't even have a government in this country. We have speech givers
Acha, let's
masquerading
come
as
back to the
president.
point. Let's come back to the
But exactly. So don't go there. Let's come back to this point. I agree. I'm completely wrong, boss. All I'm asking you is pass a law today saying there will be no more foreign imports. Full stop.
No, but why would any government pass this? That's a very extreme maximalist kind
Why?
of test.
You are so convinced that this fighter is so good and it's the foreign lobby that's kept you down. Pass it, na? I am not the one that's saying that this is so good. I'm telling you it's a shitty plane. I'm telling you it's a shitty plane, it's a shitty radar.
No, but let's
I'm
say,
saying prove me wrong.
but people are commenting that Tejas is as good as Mirage 2000, which conducted a strike in the Balakot, and Tejas MK2, which will be coming out, will be a fifth generation fighter. You don't agree to this?
It requires an extraordinary level of anthropological ignorance and naivete to believe that this country can produce a fourth. Look, it's an anthropological impossibility. I don't make the laws of anthropology, boss.
Let me counter you there. You are saying, Abhijit, that this is an anthropological impossibility. But in this country, ISRO is an example where we have reached Mars and other places as well.
ISRO is a completely different example. Let's look
Why?
at ISRO. I'll
Why?
tell you why. It's a very focused technology. Okay. Remember, a fighter aircraft has to do a lot of things. A fighter aircraft has to have weapon systems, it has to have sensor systems, it has to have thrust and energy. There are combat skills involved, there are networking skills involved. A rocket does something very different. It has to synchronize takeoff and drop off things at predestined orbit. The technology of a rocket, the basic technology, I'm not getting into the nuances of cryogenic engines and this engines and that engines and all of that, was developed how far back? Almost 80, 90 years back.
Yeah, during the World War II, if I'm not wrong.
World War One. You're talking about the V2 rocket. Goddard came up with the first principles of rockets. Okay. But the basic rocket technology is the V2 rocket that you're looking at today. Cryogenics comes sometime after that. It's old technology, number one. So, and it doesn't have this multi-sensor input. A modern fighter is a technological marvel. Okay, the amount of miniaturization it requires, the different fields of technology you have to bring in is something far, far, far greater than a rocket. Okay, rocket is relatively easier. That is why so many countries have ballistic missile programs. Okay, so many countries produced ballistic missiles. Iran produces them, Iraq produces them, Pakistan produces them, uh, what have you produces them. Not a big deal. Okay. One, it is a very narrow field of technology. The interdisciplinarity that goes into it isn't all that great. Second, it has also benefited from very good management because it's always conjoined to the nuclear program. In any country you look at it, the space program is linked to the nuclear delivery program, right? They both benefit. It's dual use technology. So it's always been supervised directly from the PMO. The third thing always has been that because ISRO has always had a commercial arm, they've always had that commercial angle. The profitability angle has always been there. It's always act as a sort of accountability mechanism. So there's a lot of things that have gone into making ISRO successful, right? And ISRO is successful, which tells you why is it that ballistic missiles is the one thing that the DRDO has also been unusually successful at, right? Why is it that our missiles don't suffer from the same kind of delays and things like that that our ballistic missiles don't suffer from the same kind of delays that, say, the Akash has suffered from, surface to air missile? There's a reason for it, right?
So, as I understand what the point we're trying to make here, and the point you were making in the last video, is that you can't make things in a vacuum. In order to produce a modern fighter jet, an advanced modern fighter jet, you have to have that requisite technological infrastructure, industrial infrastructure, and also human capital to do that. And in India, we do not have them. That is why it is impossible for us to produce it. So, if we want to produce that advanced fighter jet, we have to start investing in the education of the people, building up a robust medium and small scale industrial complex, and then as a tip of the iceberg, we can produce things like fifth and fourth generation fighter plane. Is this
Correct.
your argument?
Basically.
Okay, but your opponents, what they're asking is that you don't. They are trying to ask questions, which I can see out here is he doesn't know engineering, he doesn't know what this radar does, what that radar does. So basically, you both are talking at a very different tangent altogether.
I absolutely don't know what. I'm not an engineer, 100% true, but I rely on a lot of really good people. Okay. And here's the thing, it's a very, very simple end result, boss. Prove me wrong. I have given you the parameters for proving me wrong. If you have so much confidence in the LCA and the AMCA, forswear all foreign purchases. Now, why are you even talking to Boeing? Why are you even running this campaign for 114 fighters? LCA लगाओ ना. देख भाई, मैं तब से बोल रहा हूं, don't get the Gripen, don't get the F-16, buy LCA, buy 500-600 LCA then. Do it.
Okay.
Why are you running this program? Why did you buy the Rafale?
Let's say the last thing which has come up is that
one other thing. No, let's put very specific parameters.
Yeah.
Forswear if you have that faith in Uttam, because the DRDO is on record saying that it is scalable. Say right now you're not importing any more radars from abroad. We've become self-sufficient in radar technology. No? We're going to replace, and then there's the big question, why are you still continuing with Israeli radars on the Jaguar? Why are you why did you order the French plane with a French ASA when you had an ASA domestically that could do the same job? Right? So I'm sorry, the statements, everything based on this criticism, if I were to go by the statements, I would say my opponents are 100% correct. I don't go by statements. I go by actions. And the actions don't match up to what my opponents say they are.
Okay. So, and this is the last thing which is coming up, which is also very important. Well, the development of fighter jets, even in America and Europe, takes decades, 20, 30 years.
Yes.
And if they're so bad, let's say if they're so outdated by the end of their life, why is America still using F-15, F-16, and so on? They are fourth generation fighter jets.
They are fourth generation fighter jets which have had huge improvements under the skin. Okay, they've had huge improvements under the skin, which comes from systems maturity. So the latest fighter that we're being offered is the F-15EX. Okay, which is, remember, even in the fourth generation, you've had 4 cycles of fourth generation. There's fourth, there's 4.5, there's 4.75, and there's 4.75 plus, which is what the F-15EX is, which is again under the skin improvement. This comes with a whole load of systems maturity. Okay, you haven't used the system at all. And they are looking at the F-15 as a stopgap in between because of depleting numbers. We are looking at this as an all new introduction. If they had brought out the F-15EX is an improvement over the previous one. Upgrade karo na. This is like saying, why did you upgrade your Mirage 2000? Mat karo. Why do you upgrade your Sukhoi 30? Mat karo. It's just a new upgraded version. So don't confuse upgrades with new introduction. If America was introducing an F-15 today, वो शर्मनाक बात है. They're not. They're
Hmm.
upgrading the F-15 to a different standard, new build.
Okay. But what about this time cycle of development? The American jets also take 20, 30 years to develop. HAL has taken around 40 years. What's
Yeah.
the difference then? I
Look,
mean,
all these programs, LCA, Gripen, Rafale, they all started around the same time.
hmm,
They all took a long time. The Eurofighter had teething problems during its development.
hmm,
The Gripen possibly had the easiest development. The Gripen and the F-16 probably would have had. F-16 is earlier. We shouldn't put it in the same category. But say the Euro Canard. So Rafale, Eurofighter, Gripen. Gripen and Rafale, it was a fairly easy development. Eurofighter had massive problems initially, primarily because it was a multinational effort, right? It wasn't one country deciding what to do. But they all came online how long back?
hmm,
It's already been about what, 20 years since they were operational.
hmm,
So you have taken 20 years longer than everybody else, boss.
hmm,
This is like the horse example I gave you.
hmm.
Congratulations, you came up with the
That-
domestic pony 3000 years after everybody else came up with it, and 100 years after it after it ceased to after it remained relevant to the battlefield. To be fair to the LCA,
yes.
it will probably be useful against older Pakistani aircraft. So ठीक है, it will be useful against Sri Lanka, against Bangladesh, against
China?
Burma, against Seychelles, against Maldives. Maldives is very scared of the LCA. Uh, they should be. They don't have a single fighter aircraft. Yeah, I'm sure
What
it will be very
about
useful.
what about China?
Do you see Chinese threat assessment documents? I've actually been scanning Chinese documents for quite some time, mostly regards CPEC.
Hmm.
There's a lot of bitching happening about Pakistan and how Pakistan's trying to sabotage CPEC. I am waiting for a threat assessment of the LCA. It doesn't even figure on their radar.
Okay, that's something.
It is something, because I've read Chinese threat assessments on the F-15, on the F-35. I thought the F-35 one actually got it horribly wrong. They didn't do a very good analysis of it.
Mhm.
They did a decent analysis of the F-15. There, I've read a Chinese analysis that came about 1.5 years back of translated. So you have to, I mean, it is secondary source translation of the Taiwanese F-16 upgrade. But I've not yet read a threat assessment of the LCA.
What was the threat assessment of F-35, broadly speaking?
Oh, well, it confused a lot of things about stealth, which was actually very revealing. It was talking more about radars rather than optical sighting, which I found particularly interesting because for me, the true counter stealth technology of the F-35, because China produces decent stealth shapes. But remember, stealth is also about signal management, emission management, heat signatures, and things like that, which the Chinese aren't good at. It confused quite a few things, which was very revealing in showing you how the Chinese think about stealth. Hmm. But yeah, like I said, I haven't read one. Uh, the Pakistanis are more concerned about what foreign fighter we buy than they are about the Tejas. So I'm quite happy, boss.
So,
Like I
so,
said,
so
'83.
what about the Rafale? Are the Chinese worried about Rafale? Pakistanis, Chinese, what they are talking about Rafale?
So the Pakistanis are worried about the Chinese. I've read one short piece. It wasn't a detailed piece about the Rafale, but it was fairly accurate, mostly with regards to the Meteor missile. Extremely long range, things like that. The Pakistanis have a very mixed reaction to the Rafale. On one hand, they think it's quite a potent aircraft. On the other, they believe that they can throw sufficient numbers to bring it down. The way, say, hyenas would bring down a lion. 20 hyenas attack the lion may kill one or two hyenas, but ultimately 20 hyenas are going to end up killing the lion.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've read that, and I've heard more as analysis They're kind of hoping we'd buy a lot more Rafale. The one thing they didn't want us buying was F-16s or Gripens because they didn't want us having too many numbers against them, because their game is all throwing a lot against Indian quality, throwing Pakistani quantity against Indian quality as such. So it's a very mixed analysis. It depends on who you speak to in Pakistan.
Okay.
And what you read. The reading part is that they're worried, but they see it as a surmountable threat. The unofficial view that I've heard very often is, please don't buy the F-16 or the Gripen. The Rafale, please buy, we wish it upon you. Because it's so expensive, it's going to bankrupt you. So enjoy yourselves.
Okay. But Abhijit, the last point, and I have to ask this thing in the comment section, whenever you speak on Air Force, especially, and the F-16, you are that evil foreign lobbyist which is doing soft brainwashing of the people that you have to buy American. You are American agent, America ka agent.
So I've heard I'm a Lockheed Martin agent. Nobody's ever called me a Boeing agent. And I've heard I'm a Saab agent for the Swedes. So, I always find that quite amusing. I wish I were. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made in all of that. But yeah, sorry to disappoint you, I'm not. The issue is, this is defense wokery. Okay. It's what wokes do with social, to explain away. What is wokery? It's basically failures not accepting their own failure, blaming everything else, privilege, structural racism, institutional racism, all of that for them being third raters. This is basically the same kind of wokeness brought into defense. मैं क्यों फेल हुआ हूं? आर्म्स लॉबी के वजह से, इंटरनेशनल कंस्पिरेसी के वजह से, अभिजीत अय्यर मित्रा टकलू गंजा साला हरामजादा लॉकहीड मार्टिन के एजेंट के वजह से.
Lockheed Martin isn't. I read it very often.
It takes a lot of courage to introspect and look within and correct one's own flaws. It's very easy to blame other people. Why is it that all the entire world's arms dealers are apparently shadyantring against India, but Turkey has become an independent arms producer, South Korea has become an independent arms producer, Singapore is a fairly viable independent arms producer, Israel became an independent arms producer, Czechoslovakia became an independent arms producer. Why is it that everybody is becoming an independent arms producer, but India is the only one? There is such a great thing, India has that Brahmastra hidden somewhere, which everybody is so scared of, that the entire international lobby has conspired against you. कि इजराइल को होने देंगे, साउथ कोरिया को होने देंगे, पर हिंदुस्तान को कभी नहीं होने देंगे. क्या तमाशा लगाए रखा क्या? You people are the bloody real life version of Titania McGrath. Titania McGrath at least knows she's a joke. You people don't even seem to realize you're a bloody joke.
Maybe this is the version of Indian exceptionalism.
This is what I call woke. This is Titania McGrath does Indian defense.
Perhaps you should run a Twitter account. Make a Twitter. Anyways, I think that Twitter is about to get banned in a couple of months, so have fun.
Yes, this is a good idea. We should run a handle called Manekshaw McGrath. Though Manekshaw was such a realist, I really wouldn't want to insult his memory.
Please don't do it. Please don't do it.
So no, but I think we should. Manekshaw McGrath. And it will be constantly blaming foreign people and structural racism and things like that. उन्होंने क्यों राफाल को काला पेंट किया? वो हमारा मुंह काला करना चाहते हैं. ये भी साजिश है. ये फ्रांसीसी साजिश है हिंदुस्तान के खिलाफ. ठीक है ना? ये सब है.
Okay, Abhijit. Thank you for coming and answering these questions. And perhaps one day if we will wait and see what is the reply. And if there are still too many criticisms, perhaps we need to do a live in which you can answer those people in a live show. How about that?
Absolutely. Let's do that. I'm always game for that.
Okay. Thank you, Abhijit, and thank you, audience, for listening to us. Please don't forget to join and subscribe the channel. Now there are membership options as well. Please do check. Thank you.